There are lots of things all around us, exciting things that surround us.
But how does it work?
Do you know?
How is it made?
Do you know? Things that go up, things that go down, things that go pop, things that go round, with special cameras to show you inside. It's going to be a big surprise.
But how does it work?
Do you know?
How is it made?
Do you know? Do you know?
Let's find out!
Hello, I'm Maddie, and today I'm on a building site. Just think, the house or flat where you live once started off like this. A great big pile of bricks and wood ready to be made into a building. You should never go onto a building site without a grown-up, but we've got special permission to show you something really exciting. A lot of the things used to make houses are very heavy. Far too heavy for me to pick up, so I need something super clever to help me. Can you guess what it is? A crane! A crane is the safest way to move things around that are too heavy for people to pick up. But do you know how a crane works? Let's find out. How does it work?
A crane.
Before the crane can do anything, it needs to stand on its own feet. You should never play around vehicles. Always make sure you're near a grown-up. These special feet keep the crane steady when it picks up heavy things and stops it rolling away. Look how it's lifting the wheels off the ground. The place where the driver sits is called the cab. In here, there are lots of levers he uses with his hands and pedals which he moves with his feet. The levers are connected to the big arm, and when the driver moves the levers, this big arm moves across the sky. It's called the boom. And look! It gets longer too. The boom gets longer and shorter in the same way my telescope works. The first part of my telescope is slightly thinner than the second part, so this means the first part can move easily in and out, meaning the telescope can get longer or shorter, just like the boom on the crane. So we've seen how the driver uses the levers to move the boom around, but how does the boom get longer and shorter and move higher into the sky? To find out, we need to take a closer look. Here comes the crane. And there's the boom. To make the crane get longer and higher, there are special tubes called hydraulic cylinders underneath the boom. The tubes are full of water and oil. When a button is pressed in the cab, the water and oil are pumped upwards inside the tube. They have nowhere to go, and so this pushes the boom up. There are also hydraulic cylinders inside the boom. When another button is pushed, the water and oil inside these cylinders are pumped up too. This pushes the boom out, making it longer. But do you know how the crane picks things up? Different things can be attached to the end of the boom to pick things up in all sorts of ways. A fork to lift things up from the bottom. Or a grabber to grab hold of things, like a great big hand. Or a chain to pick things up from the top. There's something on the end of this boom. Do you know what this is? That's right, it's called a hook. And the crane uses the hook to hook onto things to pick them up. It's clever, isn't it? I've got my special camera with me and I'm going to put it on the hook so we can see what it looks like from high up on the crane. And we have liftoff. The special camera is moving higher into the air. Hello! The special camera can see so much from way up high. It's still going higher and higher. I can't believe it, I look as small as an ant. That is so high. Should we bring it back down again? Hello, camera. How brilliant was that? But we want the crane to move this great big pile of wood onto the back of that truck. Let's see how it does it. Up goes the boom. Listen to the sound it makes. It's like an aeroplane taking off. That's the hydraulic cylinders pushing the boom arm up into the sky. Once the boom is in the right position, some special chains are wrapped around the wood and attached to the hook. Off we go, Paul! The chains are on and the boom is about to lift up that pile of wood. It's a bit like a game of Hook the Duck, isn't it? Have you played that before? That pile of wood weighs the same as a family car, but it's no problem for the crane, is it? The boom is moving across in the sky to make sure the wood is in the right position, and then it will lower it down onto the truck. Brilliant. What was your favourite bit about seeing how a crane works? Can you remember the name of the big arm that the driver controls? That's right, it's called the boom. Did you like the sound the hydraulic cylinder made as it pushed the boom up into the sky? And did you see how high up the crane went with my special camera? That is so high! There are lots of things that cranes can move. There's wood and these bricks. Most houses and buildings are made with lots of bricks. The bricks are built into walls that hold up the roof and keep out the rain and wind, helping us to stay warm and safe. They have to be very strong and last a long time. But do you know how bricks are made? Let's go and find out. How is it made?
A brick.
Well, to make a brick, you have to start off in a place like this. It's called a quarry. A quarry is a place where we dig in the ground for things like rock or sand. This digger is digging for something used to make bricks. Clay. This is clay. It's found underground and it's full of water, which makes it all squishy. Just listen to the sound. All squelchy and soft. Clay can be squished into all sorts of shapes and it's used to make lots of different things. Clay makes dinner plates, plant pots. You might have even used clay yourself. Look, I've turned some clay into a little man. As well as clay, bricks are made from this, sand. Sand is really strong and is made from rocks that are crushed into tiny, tiny bits. Now, if you've ever built a sandcastle, then you'll know just how good sand is for building things. The sand is mixed with the clay and these tiny black things. Do you know what this is? It's called coal. Coal is made from trees and plants that died millions of years ago, and over time it's turned black, and now it's more like a rock than plants. Isn't that amazing? Now let's go see how the clay, the sand and the coal are all mixed together. Come and look. Sand and coal is being mixed inside this huge drum, but I want to get a closer look. Luckily, I've got my special camera with me on a long pole, so we can get right inside the mixer and see what's going on. Wow, that's brilliant! 2 big wheels inside the drum spinning round to really crush up the sand, the clay and the coal, to mix it together. When the mix is ready, it goes along a special moving shelf called a conveyor belt. It travels through the factory and then it goes through this machine, oozes onto the table where John can turn it into a brick. John uses a special box like this. It's called a mould and it's the shape of a brick. John puts in a dollop of the mixture, which he flattens with a piece of wood. He then turns the mould over and out comes a brick. The problem is, even though the mixture looks like a brick, it's still soft and squidgy. And you can't build a house with a brick like that. Do you know how we could make the brick dry and turn hard? The bricks are put in a special place called a kiln to dry. They will have to be in there for 3 whole days. The bricks are now dry, but they're not very strong or hard. They're still a little bit crumbly. To become hard enough to be built into houses, they have to be cooked in an oven. This is called firing, and it's really noisy. Can you see that the bricks have turned yellow?
This means that they're very, very hot.
The bricks are fired for another 3 days. Firing the bricks makes the clay dry out even more, so they become really hard. And these are finished bricks. Wow, I can't believe how much they've changed. They're not soft and squishy anymore. Now they're really, really hard, and I think ready to build a house with. I loved seeing how bricks were made. Did you? What was your favourite bit? Can you remember the name of the special boxes the clay and sand mixture was put into? That's right, they're called moulds, and they give the bricks their special shape. Did you like the sound of the sloppy clay squelching in my hands? And did you see how the bricks got so hot in the kiln that they turned yellow? So the next time you're in your house, you'll know how the bricks were made and how the big cranes were used to move them all about. See you next time. Hello, I'm Maddie, and it's playtime. What's your favourite toy to play with? I like this drum. I also love playing with spinning tops and toys we can look into. Do you know what it's called? It's a kaleidoscope. We look into a kaleidoscope, and when we turn it, we see beautiful changing patterns. But how does a kaleidoscope make so many different patterns? Do you know how a kaleidoscope works? Let's find out. How does it work?
Kaleidoscope.
All kaleidoscopes work in the same way. They're made of 2 tubes, a long tube and a short tube. Can you hear the sound as I turn the short tube? And look, each time I turn the short tube, the pattern inside changes. But what's inside the short tube that's making those patterns? Let's take a closer look. You must never take apart a kaleidoscope or any other toy without a grown-up. But I've got all the pieces of a kaleidoscope laid out in front of me so I can show you what's inside one. At the bottom of the short tube is a piece of material that lets light through. And inside the short tube are pieces of colourful paper. And it's the paper that we see when we look through the kaleidoscope. But when we look inside the kaleidoscope, it doesn't look like bits of paper, does it? That's because of what's inside the long tube. It's a set of mirrors. Here I am. Hello. How many mirrors are there? Let's count them. 1, 2, 3. Do you know what the shape is? Yeah, that's right. It's a triangle. And because this triangle is long and is a 3D shape, we call it a triangular prism. And it's a triangular prism that's made of mirrors that makes the patterns we see inside the kaleidoscope. But to find out how that works, I think we need to take an even closer look. Inside a kaleidoscope is a triangular prism made of mirrors. When light hits a mirror, it reflects back. Because a triangular prism has 3 mirrors, the light reflects on one mirror, then another, making lots and lots of reflections. So when light hits the coloured paper at the bottom of a kaleidoscope, it's reflected back lots and lots of times. Each time we turn the kaleidoscope, the coloured paper moves, changing the reflection and the patterns inside. Wasn't that interesting? The patterns we see inside the kaleidoscope are being made by the mirrors. I've got 2 mirrors here, and to show you how the reflections work, I'm going to join them together at an angle. Here, the angle is where the 2 mirrors meet. And these mirrors work the same way as the mirrors inside the kaleidoscope. I've also got an apple. When the apple is in front of the mirrors, can you see it looks like there are now 3 apples? There's 1 apple on the table, 1 reflection here, and another here. But watch what happens if I make the angle of the mirrors smaller. Now, there's 5 apples. And if I make the angle smaller still, we can see even more apples. The apple is being reflected again and again in the mirrors. It's just like the kaleidoscope and the pieces of colourful paper. How fun's that? I'm going to put the eyepiece of the kaleidoscope against the lens of my special camera. And I'm going to put different things inside the short tube of the kaleidoscope, and you have to guess what you think they might be. Okay, are you ready? This pattern is being made by something fluffy. What do you think it is? I'll give you a clue. Sheep have lots of it. That's right, it's wool. Now, for the next one. It looks like there are pieces of wood. I'll give you a clue. You draw with it. That's right, it's pencil shavings. All right, here's the last one. Ooh, it's green, but what could it be? This one looks like a jungle. And what do jungles have lots and lots of? That's right, leaves. That was so much fun. I loved finding out how a kaleidoscope works. What was your favourite part? Do you remember what shape we call the mirrors inside the kaleidoscope? That's right, we call it a triangular prism. Did you hear the sound the kaleidoscope made as I turned it? And did you see the beautiful patterns when we played my kaleidoscope game? When you look into a kaleidoscope, you see lots of beautiful patterns. Can you think of anything else that has something special inside? How about an envelope? Envelopes are perfect for carrying cards and letters. But do you know how an envelope is made? So we can put things inside them, but make sure they don't fall out. Let's find out. How is it made?
Envelope.
To find out how envelopes are made, I've come here to an envelope factory. Envelopes come in all sorts of different shapes and sizes. There are big envelopes, like this one, and it would be great for big sheets of paper. Then there are colourful envelopes. This would be good for birthdays or greetings cards. But today, the factory are making white envelopes with holes in the front called windows. This is so you can see who the letter is addressed to without opening it up. It's a bit like a window you might have on a house, only it's really, really tiny. Today the factory will make 10 million envelopes just like this. But how do they make so many so quickly? Let's find out. It all happens here at the envelope machine, and it's absolutely huge. And every part of the envelope is made here. Paper being pulled along the envelope machine. That's what's used to make the envelopes. But so the machine can keep running, it's really important it never runs out of paper, even for a few seconds. And it's the job of this machine, the paper splicer, to make sure the envelope machine has enough paper. Can you see that the first reel of paper is spinning round and round, feeding paper into the envelope machine? But the second reel is still. That's because the second reel is only needed when the first reel is running out. Can you hear that sound? That means the first reel of paper is nearly running out, so the splicer is switching to the second reel. And it's Dave's job to stick the ends of the two reels together. The paper splicer feeds paper into the envelope machine, but it's moving really, really fast. Dave is going to stop the machine so we can take a closer look safely. I put one of my special cameras on a pole so we can see inside the machine. So every window is exactly the same shape and size. The envelope machine has a cutting tool called a foil. And we can see it just here. Do you know what shape that is? That's right, it's a rectangle. The paper is pulled through the machine and the foil stamps out all of the windows. But now it needs to be covered to protect the letter inside. So the machine uses this material. It's called film. And look, it's see-through. When the material is see-through, we say that it's transparent. Shall we see it working? Wow, look at how quickly the paper is moving across the rollers. And as it moves through, the windows are cut out. Can you see some gloopy glue is rolling over the rollers? As the paper rolls through the rollers, it puts a thin layer of glue onto the transparent film. And they're stuck into the window holes. So, now we have a window with film in it, but it doesn't look much like an envelope, does it? It's still just one long sheet of paper. So, the paper needs to be cut. And that happens here at the sever section. Inside, a blade chops the paper into sheets like this, called blanks. Now we can see it's starting to take shape. And can you see the wiggly lines down the side of the envelope? They're called flaps. The flap's really important because it will stop anything inside the envelope from falling out. The next step happens here at the folding section, where the blanks are folded in half to make an envelope. The flaps on the sides of the envelope are then glued together so the envelope doesn't fall apart. But there's still a hole at the top of the envelope with a flap. The envelopes are all stacked up and they pass through some rollers. And the roller has a special gum on it. This This wet, sticky gum is the same gum that holds the sides of the envelope together. The top flap needs to stay open so we can put letters inside.
So what do you think we need to do? That's right, we need to dry them out.
The envelopes go through a heater to dry the gum on the top flap. This means it won't stick down until it's been made wet again.
Finally, the envelopes are counted, ready to be packaged up. And here you have a finished envelope, ready to send a letter with. Finding out how envelopes are made has been really interesting. What was your favourite part?
Do you remember what we call a material that is see-through? That's right, it's called transparent. Did you hear the sound the splicer made when it was ready for the reels to be swapped over? And did you see the foil that cuts out the windows in the envelopes on my special camera on a pole? So the next time you post a birthday card or a letter, you'll know how the envelope it's in was made. And when you look through a kaleidoscope, you'll know how the mirrors inside work to make the different patterns. I'll see you next time. Hello, I'm Maddie, and it's morning. Time to get up. Now it's breakfast time. I love breakfast. And after I've eaten this, it will be time to go out. But how do we know what time it is? That's right, we use a clock. Do you know how a clock works? Let's find out. How does it work?
Clocks.
This is a factory where clocks are made. And there are lots of different shapes and colours, aren't there? There are square ones, round ones, some unusual ones. But they all have a front part called the clock face, and most have 3 hands that show us the time. But do you know what each hand is for? This short hand here points to the hours, so it's called the hour hand. And this long hand here points to the minutes. It's the minute hand. And then this long, thin hand counts at the seconds. It's called the seconds hand. And as the clock ticks, the seconds hand moves. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you hear it ticking? As time passes, the hands move around the clock face, pointing to the numbers, so we can tell what time it is. It's easy to see the red seconds hand moving, but to see the hours and minutes, we have to look for a long time. So I've bought a special camera to help. It can film a time lapse, which means it records for a long time, but when we watch it back, we see the action happening really quickly. Right, the camera is in place. Let me check what time it is now. The short hand is pointing to number 2, and the long hand is pointing to number 12. So the time is... That's right, it's 2 o'clock. And we're going to leave my camera filming for 1 whole hour. So what do you think's going to happen? Let's find out. All I can do is wait. Here we are, 1 hour later, and now it's 3 o'clock. So I've stopped recording, and let's play this back and find out what happened to the hands. Remember, we're seeing the clock hands move much faster now. The red seconds hand moves the fastest. The long black minute hand moves more slowly. And the short black hour hand moves slowest of all, from 2 to 3. It's great to see the hands moving fast like that, isn't it? But how do the hands move around the clock face at the right speed? Well, the answer is here, inside this little box. It's called the mechanism. But to find out how the mechanism works, I think we need to take a closer look. All clocks need power to work. Most clocks are powered by batteries. The battery sends a small electric current through a circuit board. The circuit board makes a tiny crystal called a quartz vibrate. A microchip, which is like a tiny computer, counts the vibrations and turns them into electric pulses of exactly 1 pulse every second. The pulse then powers a tiny motor, which makes wheels called gears turn around and around. There is 1 gear for the seconds hand, a gear for the minute hand, and a gear for the hour hand. The gears are attached to a shaft that goes through the middle of the clock face and spins the hands around the clock at exactly the right speed, so we can look at the hands and see what time it is. Now, shall we have a look inside the mechanism of a real clock? Wow, the parts inside this mechanism are really, really small. I've got my special camera with me, so we can take a closer look. The lens on my special camera works like a magnifying glass, so you can see the tiny parts inside. The microchip is this part here. And then the motor is this bit, the part with a copper wire wrapped around it. And it's the motor that makes the gears go round. Can you see the gears? They have little grooves around the edge. Well, those grooves are called teeth. And those teeth lock together like this, so that when one gear goes round, the other one will turn at the same time. And there is a gear for each of the hands. 1, 2, 3. Now we know how it works, let's go and see a mechanism being fitted to a face to make a finished clock. And there we have it, a lovely blue clock. Let's put a battery inside it and see what happens. Wow, it's working. You can see the seconds hand moving around. Tick, tock, tick, tock. So now we can tell what time it is. I loved seeing how clocks work. What was your favourite part? Do you remember the name of the round wheels that turned the clock hands? That's right, they're called gears. Did you hear the sound the seconds hand made as it went around the clock face? And did you see how the hands moved at different speeds on my special camera? So the next time you see a clock, you'll know exactly how it works. Ooh, I think I'm getting hungry. That's because it's nearly dinner time. Before we sit down to eat dinner, we need to set the table. A knife, a fork, and a spoon. And all together, these are called cutlery. But do you know how cutlery's made? Let's find out. How is it made?
Cutlery.
This is a workshop where they make cutlery. And there are lots of big machines here that are used to make knives, forks, and spoons. Cutlery can be made out of different types of metal, such as steel or silver. But in this workshop, all cutlery starts out like this, as a huge sheet of metal called nickel silver. The sheets of metal are pushed through this machine. It's called a press, but it's quite noisy, so I'm going to pop on my ear defenders. The press cuts out shapes in the metal really, really quickly. It works a bit like a cookie cutter. The shapes that have been cut out are called blanks. But what do you think this is going to be? This is going to be a fork. But you couldn't eat with that, could you? Forks have prongs. Those are the spiky bits that you need to poke into food so it's easy to pick up. So this blank needs some prongs. The blanks are put inside this machine here, one at a time. It's called a piercing tool, and it cuts 3 slits into the fork. Can you see the 3 slits? 1, 2, 3. But what's this bit at the top? Well, it's called the gate, and it keeps the prongs nice and straight until the fork is finished. Next, the handle goes into a really powerful machine called a drop press. Inside the press is one of these. It's called a die, and it presses a pattern onto our fork handle. And if you look closely here, you can see the pattern, but it's really small, isn't it? So let's take a closer look with my special camera. This is a microscope, and it lets me see really small things in lots of detail. Wow! Look at that! In close-up, you can see lots of little circles, and that's the pattern that will be pressed onto the fork. The heavy press drops down onto the fork with 360 tons of force. That's the same as 120 elephants stamping down on top of the cutlery. And look, here's the pattern. It looks good, doesn't it? And this machine takes off the gate at the top of the prongs. It's sort of like a set of big green chomping teeth. Oh, can you hear that noise? It's really screechy, isn't it? This is a filing machine. It cuts off tiny bits of metal to make the fork pointy. Now, it really looks like a fork, doesn't it? But it's not quite finished. It's quite dull, not as shiny as the ones we have at home. The forks are given a dip in this container full of special chemicals. Inside these pouches, there are blocks of silver. And when the machine is turned on, electricity runs through, which makes the silver stick to the cutlery. And this is called electrolysis. Can you see the forks swaying back and forward? It's a bit like they're dancing, isn't it? This is to make sure that every bit of the fork gets covered in silver. Wow! And there you are, a set of shiny new forks. All finished, ready to eat your dinner with. I loved seeing how cutlery was made. What was your favourite bit? Do you remember the name of the sharp, pointed parts of the fork? That's right, they're called prongs. Did you hear the sound of the cutlery having its rough edges ground off? And did you see the pattern that gets pressed onto the fork's handle? So the next time you help to set the table for dinner, you'll know how cutlery is made. And when you see a clock, you'll know how it works to tell the time. But right now, it's time for me to say goodbye. I'll see you soon.
Hi, I'm Maddie. It's early in the morning and the sun has come out. Do you like waking up early in the morning? I love to feel the warm sun and listen to the birds. Can you hear them? In the morning, when the sun comes up, it's light. And at night, when the sun goes down, it's dark. Sometimes in the day, we can't see the sun because it's behind the clouds, but we know it's there because it's daylight.
And sometimes at night, if the sky is clear, we can even see the moon and the stars. But how do we have both day and night? Let's find out. How is it made?
Day and night.
Some people live in the countryside. And some of us live in towns and cities. And all of these are part of a place that we call planet Earth. Earth is lit by the sun, and it's a star that's 91 million miles away. It's a giant ball of glowing hot gas. And that's why you should never look directly at the sun, because it could damage your eyes. To find out how day and night works, we need one of these. It's a model of planet Earth. We call it a globe. And at the top, we have the North Pole. At the bottom is the South Pole. And the line that runs around the middle is called the equator. Now, there are lots of countries on Earth. Do you know what country you live in? Right now, we're in the United Kingdom, just here. And look, down here we have South Africa. There's India. And right on the other side of the globe, we have Australia. There's an invisible pole that runs all the way through the Earth, from the top to the bottom. And the Earth spins around this pole. It's called the axis. Shall we see it spin around? Here it goes. Whee! But to find out how we get day and night, we're going to need something else. I'm going to use this lamp as our sun and shine it directly at our Earth. For this next bit, I'm going to turn the lamp on and get the rest of the lights off. Can you see what's happening to the Earth? The sun, our lamp, is shining on one side of the Earth. So here, on this side of the Earth, it's light, which means it's daytime. And on this side of the Earth, where it's dark, we say it's nighttime. But the sun doesn't move. So how does it appear in the day and go away again at night? Well, to help us, I've got a mini Maddie, and I'm going to stick her right here in the UK. And right now, the sun is shining on the UK, which means it's daytime. The sun isn't shining on the countries around this side of the Earth because the light can't reach. So when it's daytime here in the UK, on the other side of the Earth, it's nighttime. But remember, the Earth is constantly spinning. So as we turn, you go from day to night.
Can you see Mini Maddie going into the night time?
And it takes 24 hours to make one full turn. That's the same amount of time it takes you to get up in the morning, to when we go to sleep at night, to when you get up again the next day. Well, it's almost the end of the day. The Earth has been turning and the sun is just about to set over there. But because we can't feel the Earth turning, I've set up my special time-lapse camera so that we can see it happening. A time-lapse is when we record something that happens really slowly, but when we watch it back, it will look as if it's happening much faster. So let's set this to record and see what happens. Can you see my camera screen flashing? That's because it's taking a photo every single second. So when we play it back, we can see the Earth turning away from the sun. Remember, the sun doesn't move. It's the Earth rotating away from the sun, and that makes the sun disappear, so that we go from day to night. I loved finding out about night and day. What was your favourite bit? Do you remember what the invisible line is called that runs through the Earth? That's right, it's called an axis. Did you hear the birds when I was walking through the field? did you see the way the sun only shines on one side of the Earth? So we get day and night. The sun doesn't just give us light, it gives us heat too. But did you know that the energy from the sun can be used to make electricity? But to make electricity from the sun's energy, we need a special piece of equipment. And it looks like this. No, it's not a spinning toy. We're looking at the part on top. Do you know what that's called? That's right, it's a solar panel. And a solar panel turns the sun's energy into electricity that we can use. And you see solar panels in lots of different places, like on this toy, on garden lights. You might have even seen them on the roof of a house. But do you know, how does a solar panel turn the energy from the sun into electricity? How does that work? Let's find out. How does it work?
Solar panel.
To find out how a solar panel works, I've come to a solar farm! This solar farm is 30 acres. That's so big, you could fit 272 tennis courts inside it. You should never touch or go near a solar panel, but Mark's given me special permission to be here and show you how they work. Whoa, look at all of these solar panels. There are hundreds in this line alone, and altogether they are called an array of solar panels. But this large rectangle here, that's one solar panel. And can you see, inside it, there are 60 smaller squares. Each of those is called a cell. But I think it looks like a giant waffle. Inside each cell is a special material called silicon. And this is what helps catch energy from the sun. Can you see how shiny the surface is? That's because it's covered in a layer of glass, just like the glass you'd see in a window at home. But we say that it's transparent, and that means that the sunlight can shine through the glass onto the dark blue cell underneath. And to see those important cells working, I've got one of my special cameras. This is a thermal imaging camera, and it shows us how hot or cold things are using different colours. Look, the solar panels are red and yellow. That means they're really warm. And everything that is green or blue is colder. But why do you think the solar panels are warm? You might think it's because it's a hot, sunny day, but actually it's because the cells are working hard to create electricity. But to understand how all of this works, I think we need to take a closer look. Inside the solar cell are two different types of silicon sandwiched together. On top is the negative silicon. It has extra particles called electrons. On the bottom is the positive silicon. It has extra holes. Energy from the sun is made up of tiny particles called photons. When a photon hits the silicon cell, the electrons can move around. The free electrons are knocked out of the positive layer, moving across into the negative layer. The electrons move along, making an electric current. The electric current flows out along the panel to the inverter, and it's taken away in underground cables for us to use. Wasn't that interesting? Can you hear that sound? That whirring, well, that is the sound of the electric current moving from the junction boxes to the inverter and eventually to the transformer, where the current is made bigger so that we can use it in our homes. But we can't see the electricity being used, can we? I've got some things that might help. All of these toys are powered by the sun, and each of them has its own solar panel. But instead of making electricity and sending it elsewhere, the toys use the electricity to move. We've got a train set, spinning chairs, a fire truck, and even a plane. Watch what happens when I cover the plane's solar panel. Did you see that? The propeller stopped moving, and that's because these tiny solar panels work in the same way as the big ones do here at the solar farm. They use the sun's energy to create electricity, and that will make the propeller spin. So if I cover the solar panel, it's no longer able to make electricity and the propeller stops. And even a tiny solar panel like that one is able to make enough energy to spin that propeller. But at this solar farm, there are over 20,000 solar panels. So I've got another special camera to help us see them. This is my special 360 camera, and it lets us see all around us at the same time. I've put this 360 camera on a very long pole, and I've connected it to a phone screen so that we get to see all around us really high up. Let's take a look. Wow, look at all those solar panels glisten in the sunshine. All of the solar panels here could make enough electricity to power around 1,600 homes. That was so interesting. What was your favourite bit about finding out how solar panels work?
Do you remember the name of the material inside the solar panels? That's right, it's called silicon. Did you hear the whirring noise that the transformer made? And did you see all around the solar farm on my special 360-degree camera?
So the next time you see a solar panel, you'll know how it works to turn the sun's energy into electricity. And now you know why here on Earth it's light during the day and dark at night. Talking of which, I think the sun is going to set soon. I better get home before it's dark. I'll see you next time.
There are lots of